Welcome to Real BMX Racing, the podcast. Today's show is sponsored by 110% Nutrition, Answer BMX, and BMX Connect, with a special shout out to Toby Henderson over at Send It BMX. Today's guest is USA BMX VetPro Barry Nobles from Chase Bicycles. Barry, welcome to the show.
Riders, like, how did it all start? We want to know how it all started, but we also asked, like, what are the goals in the future? It seemed like you pretty much done everything that can be done on a bicycle, regardless of what type of bike it was.
As far as experiences, I would say so, yeah.
I mean, so the first thing I want to know is, what's the next goal for you? Like, where can you go from here?
I mean, honestly, that's probably a question I'm asking myself all year this season. I don't know. Every day I train, I just try to be better than myself the day before. I'm getting older. I don't want to get older, right? We all try to ignore that. And I just try to keep doing it, actual goals. My biggest one probably actually is I want to get my world title back next year in Copenhagen. So that's kind of what's holding me on to keep training hard and pushing myself to, like, I still love to ride, but I'm competitive. I'm competitive myself. I always want to be better, whether it's a trail session or just a mountain bike session. I want to push the limits and try to do it. But as much as I don't really ride mountain bikes as much anymore, I do have a hard time finding those daily goals for myself. And why do I just go to the gym? Why do I go do my sprints? So as of right now, I want to win worlds again next year. So that's my goal, looking 12 months ahead. But after that, I don't know, man. I'm constantly asking myself, it's like getting more vet titles or whatever. That's not really like a big priority of mine. I just like to ride. And when I get to the race, I want to do good. That's where my motivation happens, when I actually get to a race. But it's the dead space in between a race. You got to, obviously, the work to go to a race and to win a race is the work you put in going to the race. So, finding the motivation at home from being a husband, being a father, it's tough, man. It's really tough.
So when did you get on a bike for the first time?
When I was 3 years old. When I was my daughter's age. I was late 80s at a little BMX track in Montgomery, Alabama. My dad just took me out there one day, and I raced a couple times, and like I was on a little 16-inch, I raced a couple times. The track ended up just shutting down. And I just remember, all my memories are on bikes, I rode horses for a little bit. I ran poles, ran barrels. I was big baseball player up until like high school, but everything revolved around riding bikes. I've told the story in other like documentaries and stuff. My first dirt jump was a pile of manure beside my mom's horse barn out back. She just had a big pile, and once it's all dried out, it's just like dirt. And I remember my cousin and I would just go launch it, and we'd start digging like a shovel with the hole. And we were, who knows, 6 or 7. And that's where it all started.
So if you fell on that jump, you're literally eating shit, right?
Yeah.
Jeez,
well,
right?
Funny story. My cousin I used to ride with, he wrecked the dirt bike on it, and the shifter went into the side of his foot. And with it being that dirt, he had a gnarly infection. And that's like one of my oldest memories of BMX is that, like, real BMX, like hitting jumps. And that's one of my oldest memories, is jumping that jump and him doing it on the motorcycle and crashing.
Jeez, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, it's nasty. That's some Alabama stuff right there.
And how old were you at the time?
7, 8 years old.
Nice.
Actually, I actually want to go back, and I didn't remember that. Yeah, I need to know how far back that was.
So when you were riding, like, did you just, once you started riding everything, because I kind of fell out of the loop right there, did you just know this was something you wanted to do from the moment you hopped on? Was it like a passion that just, or is it something that grew on you?
it's all I've ever done. You know, I know you cut out for. I rode horses for a while. I ran barrels and poles. I was a big baseball player. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, my oldest memory of riding a bike is sitting on like one of those rubber tire scooters. You know, the scooters that we had 35 years ago.
Right.
Sitting on the kid. I lived up on a hill in the country, but there was a neighborhood out in front of me, and the older kids in the neighborhood that would be riding around, sometime they would end up on the dirt road that I lived on. And I remember they would all just sit and just hang out on their like handlebars, right? Like sit on the top tube. And I always thought that was so cool. And I would sit on the deck of my scooter. And I remember I asked my dad for a bike, and that's the bike he got me. That's the bike I ended up going to the BMX track racing for our first time, a little 16-inch. And from that point, I just loved riding bike. Two wheels, you know, it's just whether it was dirt bikes, just bicycles, dirt bikes, I was always on two wheels. It didn't matter what it was. I just always had a love for just getting on a bike and going and just having that freedom for myself to go wherever I want. And I lived like right next to like 500 acres of like cotton fields and hunting land. So I had just so much freedom right in my backyard. So, yeah, two wheels is just all I know since I was young, man.
When watching you, you seem pretty limitless. Has there ever been something that it was too much for you, or you're just like, nah, I'm not even going to try to do that?
I haven't reached that point yet. You know, I think that's what keeps me young. We were in Whistler just a few weeks ago on my summer tour trip, and I ran into Javier Colombo on that trip, and he's later 40s now. He's a guy like, I think he's 10 years older than me, and we there's this big set called Crabapple Hits, and like big 50-60 foot jumps, and we went to go hit those. And one of the first things, you can see it in my latest vlog, I look over at Javi, I was like, don't be old, right? Like, because I always tell myself, it's like, as soon as we stop doing it, we're going to lose it, right? So that's why I'm still out there. I still make sure I do backflips and try to jump the biggest stuff out there and try to send the gaps the young kids do, because it's all, I can still do it just like I could 10 years ago now. But I know as soon as I stop doing it is if I go 6 months without pushing those limits, it's going to get a little hairy, you know, that just get a little uncomfortable. And especially after my crash I had a couple years ago, that's woke me up on a few things. So yeah, I'm a very calculated rider in person. So especially nowadays. So yeah, I haven't had anything that stopped me yet. You know, I'm sure it's coming, but nothing has stopped me from thinking I'm not going to do that yet. I'm still trying to be the first one to drop in to hit something new.
Now, was this the injury when your hand looked like a baseball mitt?
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that one, like my wife and my daughter were on the sidelines. It was just different from any other crash. Like I've had much worse crashes before in my career, but that one was just like face plant straight into a lip, the visor snap, split my eyebrow, obviously broke my hand. It was like sticking the bones, like sticking up in my hand, and them sitting there watching it and obviously having a lot more. I'm a dad. You know, I got a family to take care of now. That made me I looked at racing in a much different way and taking those risks in a lot different way than I used to.
So how do you feel about your daughter riding now? Is she going to race?
I love it, man. I hope. Fingers crossed. You know, it's I grew up with dudes like early days of double A's, talking about elites, talking about having a kid. My kid's gonna play golf. My kid's gonna play tennis. I mean, it's always money driven, right? Sports to make more money, but dude, I love this sport, man. It's I look forward to the day when we're going to race and I'm just riding with her. I'm not worried about getting on a gate and racing, you know, like just focusing on her and I can coach her. You know, I would love to coach her, and hopefully we can have a relationship. And I've had such a long career and experience with other parents and kids. Hopefully I've learned from that to teach Willow in a way where she's not going to push me away and she'll allow me to be her coach, which I hope. Because any other sport, I can't coach you there, you know. So yeah, I hope we love the sport, you know, and we don't plan to slow down going races anytime soon. I hope eventually she's loading up on the gate. She actually went out of the gate at Cobb County for her first time last week on her pedal bike,
Nice.
went all the way around the track. So we're heading over to Cobb tomorrow night. So we'll see if she can do it again.
Very cool. She seems to love it, man.
She has her days. Some days she absolutely loves it. Some days she could care less. You know. Excuse me. She just wants to go play with Barbie dolls. You know.
Yeah, of course.
She's a
Are
girl.
you gonna be at Derby City?
I'll be at Derby City. Yep, Derby, and then Louisville will be my next one. I mean, I'm sorry, Derby, and then Tulsa will be my next one.
Okay.
Yeah, so back-to-back weekends.
So, do you still have your first major race bike, or what would you do with it?
I have the frame. I think it's a frame and fork. It's hanging in my dad's shop down at my parents' house. My very first bike was a GT Dyno. You know, like I swear back then it's like such a normal first race bike back in the day, right? Yeah, yellow dyno with blue graphics and black GT plastic mags.
Nice.
I don't know what happened to that bike, man, but yeah, it's funny. You look back 30 years later, you're like, man, I wish I knew where that bike was. You know, I'm sure I'd trashed it or set it on fire doing some stupid filming or something back in the day. Before filming was a thing, you just filmed on a cassette.
Right. I was gonna say, right? That was me and Shannon were talking about the bike that got away from us too.
Yeah, we all got that one, right? Now, I mean, shoot, now the years go by, I start thinking more and more. I got a few title bikes hanging in my shop, and there's a couple bikes I wish I still had, like my US National Champs. That was mountain bike dual slalom national champs. I wish I still had that bike. That'd be a cool one, because I think most of the bikes on this wall are hanging from the ceiling of my shop, which is pretty cool.
So what did you do with the mountain bike?
I don't know. I think I cracked that frame, and I might have stripped the parts and built a new one and trashed the frame. Just being young and dumb, not putting anything on those, not looking at it as like I've won my first national title on this bike, you know. So I think that one ended up in the trash. So there's no coming back. But I could probably track down another one. It was an Avent 4-cross frame, so it'd probably be decently easy to track one down. But I thought about rebuilding a kind of a replica just to hang it in the ceiling, hang it in the shop.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
What?
So how were you able to fund all these races and all these places that you've been to for all these years? This is people's dreams to do what you're doing, but the money is always the problem.
I mean, up until well into my pro year, when I turned a pro in 2005. I was pretty grateful to have Claiborne Bicycles as a sponsor. Richard Bunt, Alabama team. He took me on when I was 13. He just paid entry fees. I mean, I don't come from like a rich family, just a Southern family, you know, like both my parents bust their ass every day, still to this day. They're going to work till they're dead. And they just worked hard, got me to the races I could. Went into pro class. I was still just getting entry fees paid. By that point, by the time I was racing pro, I was self-funded, you know. I mean, it was very rare. I mean, shoot, this is so. Not sure I understand. Sorry, my watch. I mean, this is 20 years ago, so things are a little cheaper, right? I raced everything East Coast. You got me really thinking now. That's a good question. Everything was really East Coast, so I drove everywhere. Same thing people do now. I'd pair up with another pro or another buddy. We'd split gas. We'd go stay at a friend's house in Florida or wherever we go, or get a cheap hotel. You just make it work. You know, you just find a way to get to the races. I had Claiborne's paying my entry fees, so I just had to show up. You know, once I showed up, and especially if Richard was there, then I'd stay with him. But then fast forward, say 2010, I got my first real paying sponsor, which was SE Bicycles, and then that's when it like really turned into a pro career. You know, I mean, I had a salary every month. So I got a check every month, but my checks were always, it was always just one flat rate, one flat check, and then I budgeted out of that. And, you know, and it was like, at the time, it was like, this is more than enough, you know? I was doing really well. So like I had prize money and, what I have, I think I had bonuses from Maxis at this time. That's when I first started that. I was just slow every year, you know, every year would just accumulate. I would get another sponsor that would pay a little more. This one goes from paying $100 a month to $250 a month. And then one's $500 a month, you know, and it just accumulates every year. But it's like, I haven't been racing amateur either since I was 16 years old. So I've been doing it professionally. I've been earning money. I've been doing clinics, busting my ass my whole career to make sure I always show up at the race. And 20 years later, it's all that hard work's paid off. I do it easier now than I did it back then, you know, so, which I'm very grateful for. And I just don't stop, you know, it's just set a goal. And the next year that goal gets bigger. Then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, you know? And then more people come, more sponsorships approach you. And yeah.
So do you seek these sponsorships or did they come to you?
I have before. I would say SC came to me after I won the 2010 ABA Pro Cruiser title. I got a call from Todd Lyons that week asking me to ride for SC. So that was obviously yes. Actually, the year before I tried to get on DK, had a meeting with DK and they didn't have the budget for me to do, like, what they were offering wasn't realistic on getting around. I'd rather just keep working hard and paying for myself. But yeah, everything else is really, I mean, I do reach out to people, but nowadays it's very rare I reach out. That's a broad question. I mean, 20 years of it, there's been plenty of people I've reached out to. There's been plenty of people that's come to me and approached themselves to me. So yeah, a little bit of both.
So did you ever have a 9 to 5?
Never. I've never had a normal job.
Wow, okay.
That's what it sounded like.
In high school, I did vinyl siding with a guy after school. I went and did that, like little side hustles, you know. I've never actually had a boss.
So, but wasn't there a time when you walked away from BMX for a little bit?
Yeah, I was doing mountain bike freestyle. I went to the X Games for BMX Dirt. Just set up new goals. Yeah, that was after 2016 a Rio Olympic run. After trial, got second in the U.S. trials behind Corbin Sherraw. He obviously got to go to the Olympics, and I didn't get like alternate spot or anything for some reason. And yeah, as soon as I didn't even get like, not that we all want alternate, but you look back, 8 years, you're like, it would have been cool to experience, like Jeremy Smith, for example. Jeremy Smith was our alternate this year, and I loved how he really took it all in. He really experienced Olympics he made the most out of being an athlete, Olympic athlete. And yeah, look back then, I wish I would have got that, but I remember in the moment I was kind of I was young, I was pissed off and didn't know why I didn't get chosen. And I kind of I put my BMX bike down that day, didn't touch it again for almost 3 years.
Wow.
Yeah. Every now and then I would go ride, but my focus purely went to mountain biking. I was doing the Crankwork series. I had a lot of freestyle goals as those kind of kept snowballing. I had a chance to get into BMX Dirt. My dream, my Olympic dream was always X Games. That was always my childhood dream. I always wanted to go to X Games. And I was doing all these tricks in the mountain bike world, and I was living in California at the time. There was a couple contests nearby that I knew that would, if I do well, that would qualify me in. So I put all my eggs into that basket, and it worked.
That's wild.
Yeah. but yeah, all my sponsors just wrote they wrote it out with me. Like all my I've been super. I mean, everybody at 80% of my sponsors I've had for 20 plus years now. So Fly, Maxis, ODI, they've been with me for over 20 years now. And as long as I was doing my thing, I was on a bike, they didn't care what it was. They kept paying. They kept supporting.
Nice. That's nice.
Yeah.
So who else are all your sponsors?
Right now, Chase obviously is the main gig. Chase, and then still Fly, still Maxis. Chase is sponsored by Tioga, but I have such a long-term relationship with Maxis. They were super cool about just letting me keep that, even though Tioga is a big sponsor of Chase.
Right.
They respected my long-term relationship with Maxis, something I didn't want to burn a bridge for, especially at the time. It's like, well, what if these guys want to? Max has been with me for over 20 years. What if Chase only wants me for a year or two? It's like, I'm not going to walk away from that. I mean, even the offer was great. And it's like, well, if I take it for a year or two, it's like, then I lose it. And then I lost a lot more than what the offer was. So, yeah, they were super cool with that. And so, yeah, as far as the ones that actually like help fund what I do, it's Chase, Fly, Maxis, ODI, Xmark Mowers. They're actually a sponsor. They're just like a lifestyle sponsor, we're in the age of social media, so it's easy to do. And then Heart Tools, they're another supportive brand that's all social media based, but it's part of the whole package, Then obviously I had Mercedes Benz, which was really big, but that contract ended and we moved on from that. So yeah, they said, I mean, thanks to Mercedes Benz, I mean, they're the last 3 years of Barry Nobles has been very much them. Or thanks to them, sorry.
Who does your editing?
I do it all.
So you do all the filming, all the editing while you're on the road, while you're racing, while you're training, while you're being a father, while you're doing everything else, you're editing.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. If I'm not holding the camera, my wife's holding the camera, which is a lifesaver. I mean, you gotta have that other perspective. And yeah, if the camera's not in my hand, it's in her hand, and I handle everything else. It is like you ask about a 9-to-5 job. I live 24/7. It's like I work much harder than any 9-to-5 job. Trust me.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you get that drive from your parents?
Yeah. Southern hospitality, man. Or is that not Southern hospitality? So there's that Southern raising, it we just work hard, it's just like I said, I didn't come from money, so my parents had to work hard to get everything we had, and I grew up with that, and now I grow up wanting to be better than what my parents were, right? And be able to provide my kid more than what I was provided. And yeah, so it's just a constant grind. I'm always, if I have a chance to do a site, I have a meeting next week with the city at a local college that wants to build a dual slalom track, and they know I build everything in my backyard. They're like, oh, can we hire you to do that? I'm thinking, well, I got a couple weeks coming up between racing. Yeah, let's shoot. I'll meet you out there. Let's talk about it. So yeah, just I'm bored. Honestly, I'm bored if I don't have anything to do. I'm not someone that sits on the couch. I wake up in the morning, I go outside, and I'm usually depressed in the winter if it's raining, and if I'm inside, I'm going crazy. My computer work lasts till about 11 o'clock every day, and once 11 hits, I'm out of this office. Off the computer, I got to be outside in the sunlight, just working my way. If I didn't have my wife on me every day, I'd be working. I would still be outside right now. The sun, there's still light. I'd still be on the Bobcat building or something right this second.
Oh, well, I just thought I'd let you know, once you get into your 40s, mid 40s, you're in bed by 8:30, bro. That's why I shut it down.
Dude, I hear it all the time, man. Trust me, I'm trying to and I'm watching my daughter grow up, dude. Every day, it's like we just missed a week. It's like I got to make the most out of every opportunity right now. It's like I do more now than I ever have in my life, and it's still not enough. Not enough time in the day, and the days go by too fast. It's a trip. It's wild.
I mean, do you feel like you accomplished a lot in the time you were here? I mean, you have to.
I mean, I'm still going, man. I'm not stopping. I still got more to do. Like, I might not be going to Olympics or setting goals like that, but I still got plenty of just personal stuff that I want to better myself, whether it's just having an epic dream backyard, you know, it's like little personal goals like that. It's I mean, BMX has been awesome. Two wheels in general has been awesome. I have my first track day at like a sport bike track. We got a big like MotoGP track here. I'm about to get into that. I got a new like hobby that I'm getting into soon, just to add more to the plate. So I'm sure when that whole happens, that's going to be a whole nother world of stuff that I want to do. You know, I've always had a little bit of passion for the sport bike and street bike racing. So yeah, I thought, you know what, I can do it now. I got a bike for it. Let's hit the track one day and see what more I can do on daily. You know? Right. Yeah.
Have you climbed a lot of trees when you were a kid?
Yeah, dude, I was always up in a tree. It's funny. We were just sitting at dinner right before I saw your message. I've had, out of all my YouTube videos, I've probably had the most comments of people reaching out after the video about that damn tree climb. You know, which I knew this was going to be the highlight of the video, and yeah, it was wild. I've never climbed a tree like that. I just, something about that one, you know. I don't know if you watched the full vlog, but in the video when Kelsey's filming and Willow's like saying she's on the phone or something, I'm in the background. And I just threw a jersey on. I was like, I'm just going to throw a jersey on so my skin's covered. And I'm just going to jump on the tree and just test it. Like, is this even possible? You know, I'm looking like it's like 20 feet up. There's some branches. And think if I can just get up there. And the tree had like, it wasn't perfectly straight up. It had a slight slant, like just enough. And I was like, I think I can do that. So I got to throw a jersey on so I don't rash up my skin. I jump up. And in that video, you see, it's like, that's just raw. That's just me think I have one goal in my head at the moment, not letting her know. Luckily, she was filming. I just jumped on the tree, and then I went a little higher, and I was like, man, I think I can do this. And I got like 10 feet up, and I'm like, I mean, I'm here now. Let's just keep going. And yeah, dude, it didn't really dawn on me on how gnarly that was until I edited that video. Like, I didn't watch any of the footage. I even told Kelsey, she's like, you want to see it? I was like, no, I don't want to see anything. I just did. Like, I'm going to wait to see it when I edit it and just get the raw.
And you got to see how high up you were, bro. Oh,
yeah.
My God,
and when I was up there, you know, and I was sitting there looking, I'm like, dude, people are on the freeway. They can see me. Like, someone's going to call the cops or something. I'm in Canada, you know, they got some weird laws anyways. And, yeah, I'm just like, dude, I'm getting so much trouble. I gotta get out of here quick. So I got it, climbed down, and when I left, I had to actually go down and U-turn back on the freeway to come back that way. And I remember looking at that tree thinking, dude, that thing is up there, you know, and there ain't no way if anyone just happened to look that way, you saw a human in the top of that skinny ass tree, you know, like, which was wild. And yeah, seeing that, I'm like, I was up there. And once I was up there, I was like in the branches, you know? So I'm like getting it. Oh, I found it. And closer I would get, I could kind of hear the signal from the drone. And I finally found it. And once I was in it, like I was in the tree, right? So I felt safe. Like I'm not going to fall. Like I'm checking each branch before. And if a branch would break, I would go ahead and snap it off and find a good one. And yeah, dude, when I started, I never once looked down or anything. And I just like, my one goal was up, right? And I shimmied my way down. And by the time I saw the video, I was like, and that was pretty dangerous. I could have, one wrong slip would have, yeah, I could have really hurt myself and possibly killed myself. There was nothing but rocks at the bottom. But yeah, dude, for as hard as I was latched on, anytime an arm moved or a leg, my other three limbs were so locked in. And when I got to the bottom and I got in the van, probably 10 minutes later on the road, I saw my whole body was shut down. Because I didn't realize how much I was just clenching just to not slip, right? Yeah.
Jeez. There you go, Shannon.
I mean, imagine driving to the race, Everett, right? And you look to the side and fucking Barry Nose is up in the tree, bro. Come on, man.
Right?
Trying to explain that to your friends, bro. Yeah, I think I see Barry Nobles.
Especially that big ass black motorhome sitting on the side of the freeway. You can't miss me.
Right. I meant to ask you too. So you had front row seat to Nick's long foot going the whole other direction, right?
Yeah. That was here at the house. We
Forgot about that.
we just finished a couple jumps. Yeah, he was in town, and it was, of course, as it goes, it was the last run of the day. And when you have a session, especially a trail session, if you have a trail session with me, like, you give me a little bit, I'm gonna push your limits, and I can always read if someone's like not about something, they're not even gonna try. Cool, you just go ride. But if you give me any kind of signal that you want to learn something or you want to put, dude, I'm all in. Like my whole session will be based around let's tick this box. Let's get that goal. And so we got Nick doing 360s to the resi mat. And this was like, this is a few years ago. So this is when Nick just kind of got out of racing and he's just wanting to enjoy trails. He was always the guy that only went to the track, So
Right.
and so he just like, I want to have fun. He wanted to enjoy this other side of BMX. He's never really experienced that much. And so he's learning tabletops. I'm like, dude, well, if you just do this, I kind of walk him through it. And he does one that's little. I'm like, dude, you're doing it. Like, just commit to it and you'll get a 3 table. And he did it. And when he opened up, it's just a trick that if your body can be off real easy. So he opened up, he's kind of top heavy, or his front end was high, and he just put his foot down. It is the exact way I broke my foot years and years ago. It's like so typical on 360s. You just overcook just a little bit, put your foot down when your bike keeps spinning, and you sit back on that leg and snap. So yeah, it looked way worse in the videos than what it actually was. He had so many pads on. It twisted everything. Obviously, it was broke, but it probably started to dislocate as well. But when it went, it just stayed there because of all his tight pads. So by the time we got all his pads off at the hospital, it looked normal again. We were like, it's like, dude, we don't even take your pads off. If that thing's like compound or if it's out, like, I don't want to deal with, like, let's just don't touch any of it. Let's get to the hospital. We'll take everything off there. And it's like he ended up getting, after hours later, he ended up getting back in the doctor's office. They were like so timid around taking off his pants and stuff. He ended up having to call me in there. So I ended up coming in and doing it for the doctors, like taking everything off. So I'm also the dude. It's like when there's an injury, I'm like, a bone sticking out,
Right. I think I saw you pulling out your own screws out of your own hand.
Yeah.
You were like,
Pins, yeah.
Yeah. Just experiences, More experiences. What can I get under my belt?
well, I was gonna say because when a couple years ago, Shannon rolled his little ankle and got hurt at Grands, and yeah. How was that, Shannon?
I'm trying not to curse on this show right now. But
he ended up breaking his foot, and it was Mainz, right? Yeah, he broke his foot in Mainz.
Oh,
I broke my ankle. Yeah.
Yeah, well, at least it was the last lap. At least it wasn't like a quarter or semi you're winning, right?
Yeah, it was Sunday, man. It was all good.
Yeah, you had a long week.
Oh yeah, I think that was this. Wasn't that the same? No. That was
the year that I think you came back with the hand.
That was 23, right? I think. No.
Oh.
I think yours was 23, right, Barry?
End of 22.
I think it's the same year.
Yeah, it was just before the 22 grand.
That's right, because I was surprised. That's right. That's what it was. So I was surprised to see him there when I did see him there.
Yeah.
All right. Everybody was. Everybody's like, yo, is Barry coming? That was like the big talk of the Grands. I'm sure you know. Like, yo, is Barry coming? Yeah. Is he going to show up? And then you showed up. It was like,
dude, how were you able to make a grip?
That's cool. Adrenaline, I mean, I had wrist straps, like lifting straps. I had Velcro on my hand. I had so many things trying to, like, because I didn't touch it. I had the crash. I didn't touch my bike until Grands, like the whole month of November, I completely took off. But I set a goal that year, it's like so much of that year was Not so much like I want to go, I'm winning the VetPro title. It was to make up for years in AA that I can never make it through a full year. I'd always show up at the Grands completely over BMX, and I was just tired, and I would just never perform at Grands. Even like 2008, I was up for the pro title that year, and just mentally shut down, couldn't handle the pressure, blew it all. I had a great year and blew it at Grands, and that happened a lot. I had a lot of those years. We just age and mature, right? So finally, it was like, you know what? That's when I came back racing vet. There was no goal of winning the vet title. I just want to race and have fun, right? And as I get a year into it, I'm getting competitive. I'm like, you know what? I'm running out of chances. I'm going to buckle down, give it a hard season where I'm going to check all the boxes. I'm going to keep my head down, keep focused. I'm not going to have any of these other distractions I always was distracted about earlier in my career. And I'm going to win this title. I'm going to start a year and I'm going to finish it strong. So I had that all in the back of my mind, and I went to a pro-am for a chance at a couple $1,000 or whatever it was. I shouldn't have been there racing anyways. It wasn't part of the process, wasn't part of the program. And so I just wasn't going to let that stop me. I thought I was in the ambulance talking to my coach at the time, and just beating myself up. I can't believe I threw this away. I just ruined it, like all the worst negative thoughts right in the moment. And I just had a feeling, I don't know. I think if they can reset this, I'll be good, And what it was where these bones sit. There's I forget the name of them. I broke where those bones sit in. They sit in like a cup, right? Well, I broke it this way. So I snapped the top off, so that knot on my hand was the bone sticking up, and then my hand would slip out of place like that. So after every lap at Grands, I had a chiropractor there resetting my hand. So I showed up, so I didn't ride, and I showed up like I'm just gonna ice it. I literally had a bucket of ice ready for before and after every lap. If I need to just numb it as much as I can and tape it, I'm getting through this weekend. I skipped ROC, obviously didn't race that. I didn't even practice till the day of. Luckily, the track was like the most lamest USA BMX ever made, So I'm like, dude, if I'm gonna do it, like this is the year. This track is super small. I think I went through the pro set one time in practice. Like, all right, cool. I went through it like I can manage. And then literally it was like, I think I did 2 or 3 laps of practice, and I was just counting down the laps. I had 3 motos, a quarter semi, and 3 main events. So I was like 8 laps. And literally from that day, from when the day started, it was like, cool, 1 down, 7 more. And my focus was just 1 lap at a time. I would come across track, go to the chase pit, dunk my hand in ice, get my hand reset. It hurt, And but I just hold on tight. The second turn was super bumpy. That was where I actually struggled the most. Once you start racing, your adrenaline starts pumping. I was like, once motos start, I'll get on the hill, my adrenaline will get up, and like I won't feel the pain. It will go away for 30 seconds. The second turn sucked every single time. It was just like, oh my God, I would just have to fight through the pain and hold on. Just don't let my hand fall off, right? And then so I went through checking off the laps, checking them off. And then we got to the semi. I was like, cool, 3 more laps to go. Just do the same thing. And it actually probably helped the distraction of putting all my focus into this year. It's all right. You did it. You did everything you had to do this year, and now execute it, like finish it. So having this injury actually probably took the focus away from, hey, you need to go win this race to win the title. I'm just thinking just 1 lap at a time. Keep my hand on the bar, get to the first turn first, and you can win. As long as you get to the first turn first, you'll get to the finish line first. Yep. And then, checked all the boxes. Came across the last, probably 20 minutes after that last lap. After the adrenaline, everything wore off. 3 weeks of adrenaline, 3 weeks of focus, everything wore off. I couldn't even hold like an umbrella at the time. It was so bad. And it was just, I think I just mentally blocked it out so much. And then once it was all done, yeah, dude, I couldn't my trophy. I couldn't hold trophy. I couldn't hold nothing in that hand. But yeah, it was just raw determination to not fail with that one. I had to prove that one. It was such a mental goal for myself to prove that I could do that. So yeah.
Was that against?
Prove that I could get the title after a long year, not to overcome the wreck. That was just a bump in the road.
Was that against the doctor's advice, or did they say you didn't even ask?
At this point, I saw it once I knew the like that was in Atlanta, so I was in an ER because I had blood on my lungs, and I was in the trauma unit overnight, and with my head and with the lungs and everything. So once I got out of that, my hand was the least of their worries. So it took them like 8 or 9 hours to finally reset my hand the first time, and so there was not really much focus on my hand. They just want to make sure my lungs don't fill up with blood. So once I left the ER and came home, I didn't see a doctor again. Like I just it was like my hand. I can move my hand. I had it reset. I know what it's doing. I learned after about a week. I learned my hand. There's something up. It kept coming out of place, but I didn't know why. I'm like, why do I still have this knot? Why is it not staying in? My chiropractor at home, he would reset it every week or every 2 or 3 days I'd go to him. He'd reset my hand, and I would just try to keep it moving. I was just trying to strengthen everything I could. And then I saw a doctor, I think Tuesday after Grands that year, and went into surgery Wednesday and had it all fixed. Yeah.
So who do you think the most popular person is in BMX racing, male or female?
I would hope right now Joris. Yeah.
I mean, we think it's you, but if you say it's Joris, then
But, yeah, I mean,
I know you wouldn't say it, but by far, like when I ask people who the most popular person is,
numbers wise, not trying to. It's an honor, but yes, I think my name is one of the biggest names in BMX at the moment. I don't know if that's just because I'm approachable. I share my whole life, right? I mean, everything's about YouTube. Everybody watches everything I do. Watch my whole family, and I'm sure that has a lot to do with it, And but it's I mean, just it's just BMX it's a weird sport when it comes to that kind of stuff. It's like you got to do the extra mile, especially nowadays with social media. And I've always been that guy as long as social media has been around, and it's just a lot more apparent nowadays. Everybody. Last couple of years, everybody have been focusing on getting their self to Paris Olympics. So social media is not as much of a focus. So whatever the case, or they're not as social, and everybody has a different view. But I've just been around the sport for a long time, and I think my generation of pros is a very different breed. And I just like to share. I'm just doing me, and it's brought a lot of eyes and attention on me, which is really cool. And it allows me to share BMX in the way that I think BMX should be shared. And I think I came from a pretty gnarly era of BMX, like my heyday, or my not my personally, but my era of World Cups and all that was a much different time. And yeah. But it's cool. It's Joris winning. I mean, I'm Joris's biggest fan, and I've known that dude since he moved over here from France, and to see him go through so many Olympic games and not failing, but not getting what he went there for. It's like I have been such a fan to sit back and watch what he's been able to experience since winning that. I mean, he's a rock star. All three of those dudes. He's a rock star in France right now, and I'm sure what they've done has done wonders for BMX in France, and that's huge. Obviously you want that in America, but at the end of the day, we could have had 2 or 3 medalists on the podium, and the only people that really would care were BMXers. So I think him being French and doing it in France, it's like it couldn't have been a better scenario. So I love seeing his growth. Like his social media has been blowing up. He's been getting a lot of followers. He's got more eyes on him, and as he should. He's the greatest dude. He's the GOAT. He's the best dude to ever do BMX racing, and he's literally won everything now. And if we never see him on the gate again, I wouldn't blame him. Not saying I've heard that or anything. I have Joris, but I mean, I didn't even bother asking. I was like, oh, when are you gonna come back over here race? It's like I'm sure that's the last thing you would think of, But dude, if he just didn't show back up to the States, you earned that, dude. Like walk out on the highest high. You've won everything now, So yeah, I'll be a big advocate for him winning Pro of the Year. Go ahead and put that out there right now. I'll be campaigning hard for kids to be voting for him this year. Because in America, a lot of people still don't know he won the gold medal, but a lot of people are really blind to what's going on outside of USA BMX. So that's just the truth of it.
I think everybody's loving the breakdancing girl from Australia right now.
I gotta see that girl again. Man.
Yeah, I think she's kind of got the spotlight right now. But
that's the negative side of social media is that stuff right there, right? It's like putting the spotlight on the wrong faces, but someone's making $1 out of it because of it, and I'm sure she'll have her 15 minutes.
So how's your wife handling the limelight? Has she always been someone that's people walking up to her and all that stuff, or is she?
Oh man,
it's
been gradual though. I mean, you say limelight, right? But it's just at the end of the day, it's just a bunch of kids and parents at BMX races. The numbers aren't that. I mean, it's overwhelming at times, but it's just because it's just a big fish in a small pond. It's I mean, it's cool. I mean, I don't take any of it for granted. I love it. I love having conversations when meeting new people or the conversations I have from people I've never met before. Just being inspired. The amount of people that have started BMX racing because they came across my YouTube or my channel, it's like that's some of the best stuff. Or the 56-year-old guy or whatever sent me a message the other day. He won a gold cup or something after a clinic he was in, and he really kept working on those 1%ers I told him about, and like that stuff is the coolest. Knowing I'm helping someone. I'm not just showing. Hey, this is what I do. I feel like I really try to show my life in a way. It's like I've done this. This is how I've kind of done this. Try this. I always try to give some kind of tip in every one of my videos. It's just a great thing for my family and I. So a lot of people watch them, so I try to give my feedback. Again, back to what I was saying, like it's my way to share BMX the way I see BMX, like training on flat pedals and how important that is. But I love my clip pedals. I love going fast as I possibly can, but it's good to ride your flat pedals, like stuff like that, little things I can get across in mind. I obviously reach to a lot of people. I connect to a lot of people. So, I mean, it's not that what I'm doing is not working. So I just keep being me, and just sharing what I can. And at the end of the day, I was just one of those little 8-year-olds at the track too, and learning the process. And I never forget those days. I remember getting that autograph from a pro that didn't have time for me. So a lot of those experiences with other pros when I was growing up make me remind me to not do that to the kid that comes to me or the parent that talks to me. And because of that, it just snowballs. And I put the effort in.
Right.
So back to the Olympics, a lot of people were asking when they chose the riders for the United States, why was there only 2 riders and 1 alternate? And then there was other countries that had 3 riders.
Oh, it all come down to results or races. Your country has to qualify. I think don't quote me, it's either top 3. I want to say top 3. Top 3 countries get 3 riders. And then it's like 4th, 5th, 6th get 2, 7th, 8th, 9th get 1. Like that, and our riders just didn't perform well enough. I mean, Cam Wood had a couple wins, but it just takes more. I mean, Cam winning a couple wins and him being the only one in the main, then you get 3 French guys in the main, like their points are gonna overpower those, you know. So it wasn't that USA Cycling was like, oh, we're only taking 2. It's like they didn't have a choice. Our riders didn't perform well enough World Cups to qualify the country high enough, but the girls did. That's why the girls had 3, because they qualified. The girls for USA qualify better than the guys for USA, which is 2 separate things.
So do you only get an alternate when you have 2 riders? Did the girls have an alternate?
Yeah, Peyton Ridenhour was there.
She was the alternate?
So, they had 3 plus an alternate.
Right. Yeah. Yeah,
Right.
they were. Peyton Ridenhour and Jeremy Smith, they were also there. And then I think once race day came, they had to leave. They leave. I think that's how all the years before. The alternate stays until racing. It's like once race day, if no one had a wreck or injury by race day, your job is done. Then you go. They send you home. Like they don't fund you. You're not then just going to be hanging out at Olympics for the next couple of days. You know, it's like you're on a plane home. If you watch like Jeremy Smith stuff, like by the race day, Jeremy was already like in Italy or something on vacation. But yeah, it's someone has to get injured before race day for that alternate to be able to take place.
So if they get injured after, you're just one less guy.
If they get injured like warm up before first moto,
yeah,
too late.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was mandatory. You guys had to be there.
No, which is how Brooke Crane went to London Olympics, because Ariel Martin got injured. I think Brooke was going to be alternate. Again, don't quote me. I'm not sure exactly, but Ariel got hurt right before the London Games in Chula Vista, and Brooke Crane took her spot. Yeah. So
speaking of Chula Vista, man, they're closing down, huh?
I know that's sad to see, right? That was another highlight of like talking about my generation of pros or generation of races. Yeah, it's sad to see. I think 2009 I moved in Chula Vista, and so 15 years it made it, and it's just died off. You know, it's California. Can't nobody afford to live out there anymore, especially BMXers. I think Anthony Ricardo is the only dude living out there right now. And I mean, I saw videos of I think they redid the starting hill, but the Supercross hill had like holes in it and all kinds of stuff. It's just, I mean, it's unfortunate. It's just BMX is a lot of upkeep. You know, everybody wonders about these. We don't need new tracks, so they need new tracks here and there. It's like, you know what it takes to build a BMX track? You know, like, I mean, Paris was ridiculously small, but I mean, where else are they going to go build another one? Like the size, look how huge Tokyo's track was. Like that's a lot of track to build, you know, and BMX don't have the money for, like, the funding's just not there, sadly, you know, so that's why we don't get all these new tracks all the time. And yeah, that's a whole other can of worms.
Did they say what track they were going to be using for the Olympics in 2028?
They're building a track in LA.
So they're going to build one.
Yeah. There's a couple renderings of, I think it was originally going to be in Long Beach, and now I want to say it's not in Ventura, but it's up near where X Games is. I think, unless
I think someone said Sepulveda.
Where'd you say?
I think someone said Sepulveda. Okay,
see, I don't know. Yeah, maybe if I wouldn't know where that actually sits on a map, so I could be completely wrong. But I was thinking, from what I saw, I was thinking it was north of LA somewhere.
It's got to be somewhat close, right? Since LA is right there.
Dude, I would love to go to that one, like as a spectator, but holy cow, I don't even like going into LA on a Wednesday, much less on an Olympic Games, you know? Like, dude, that place is going to be chaotic.
Yeah, LeBron James already said he doesn't plan on being around for it.
Oh, really? Yeah, dude, that would be chaos. But yeah.
Quick couple of questions about bike stuff.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you have to have on your bike, like as far as size crank, size bars, stem? Is there anything that you just will not change? About? Yeah.
No. I've always been one to change stuff up just because I don't want to be super anal about things. Like, it has to be this way. Like, you get to a race and something happens, you go to a bike shop, you need a part. They don't have what I don't want to be in that situation where they don't have that exact thing I need. But nah, I'm good. I can throw in. I run flat bars. You can throw in a set of bins, big bin bars. I'll be fine. But I've also been the rider my whole life. I can jump on either one of your bikes, and give me a lap, I'll feel fine. I'll feel used to it,
Right.
which makes me not the best like test rider for products, because everything just feels the same to me. At the end of the day, it's just two triangles with the wheels, right? So no, I'm not very picky when it comes to that stuff. I like to be picky with things just because I like to kind of nerd out on like little gimmicky stuff. But at the end of the day, I don't really care if my bike's actually lighter, the lightest one on the game. I like the process of doing that stuff, but I don't really care if it makes me perform any different or not. I know the science behind it, but
Yeah, I mean, some people have to have the axle to bottom bracket 14 inches, whatever. They have to have the bar is 8 inches. They have to have, it's just.
Yeah. No, I hear it. I've heard it forever. It's just, yeah, I've never been that guy. I try to keep things simple, Keep it simple, less stuff to think about.
Well, I was gonna say, I know you're the guy that's always building something.
Yeah.
Have you ever looked at a part and think I could probably build that better?
I wouldn't say. I mean, yeah, I used to modify my clip pedals for years. Like I had some of the pros send me their pedals so I could do it to their pedals. Just because I knew I figured out a way to make it better, make my cleat lock in there tighter. But at the end of the day, if you're coming unclipped, it's because your pedaling technique is off, So I could have just bettered my pedaling technique, or I could have modified it where my foot cut and I had to like hit my heel to unclip inwards. I had pedals where I modified where it was like this, or like the ramp of your cleat, one side it would slip out, you could come unclipped, and one side it was so aggressive you couldn't come out. So I can only unclip moving my heels inwards because I had a problem of pulling my foot out of my back pedal. Bad pedaling technique at the end of the day. But
well, I was gonna say, so have you ever thought about just making your own and like selling it, having your own brand or something out there?
I didn't need to. HT. I went to HT pedals and never looked back. HT. I don't know what it is. It's a dialed set. I've never had issues coming unclipped at all. It was this. I think it was just the old style Shimano. It's made for cross country riding. Not the aggressiveness in pedaling a BMX bike. And HTs were developed around BMX riders and with that in mind. So I got to a point where I never have a problem. But one of my recent videos, I do actually have a little trick out with JB Weld, and I build up the sides of it so it fills the void between my shoe and my pedal, and it makes it a tighter fit as well. Because that's one thing I don't like being on a pedal, clipping in and feeling my foot raw. I like it locked in.
Right.
So, yeah, but other than that, I don't know. My dad was a fabricator, machinist, and he made me some stems back in the day and small parts. So that's where my handiness comes from, is growing up with a dad like him. But yeah, nothing. I feel like that's the only thing that really felt like I can make better. But I have something, a 9.5, my first 9.5 like actual product coming out now soon that I'm stoked to share. Will be cool.
That would be cool.
Yeah. I can't tell you, but it'll be a cool one when it comes out.
Yeah, we want to know.
Yeah, I know. Man. We're still way early on in it, but it's I'm always trying to look at something like, what's something people need in BMX? What's something I need? What's something I use all the time? And I'm like, and this one thing I can't get anymore, I'm like, I'm recreating it. I'm gonna remake it. It's simple, but it's pretty cool.
So I'm going to Derby. Shannon's going to Derby. We both agreed that we're going to Derby. We need autographed shirts from you, autographed jerseys from you.
Okay.
Have any jerseys?
I'm just having summer tour. I don't know what it is, but the requests I've been getting in the past 2 weeks about free stuff, giving stuff away, I'm tapped out right now. We're gonna have new jerseys closer, like in the next few months. We were supposed to have jerseys already, but Christoph wanted to wait until in case Joris won Olympics. He wanted to have his jersey reprinted with Olympic rings on the back. I don't know if you guys have seen it. Like the back of the numbers on our jersey has a little logo for every title we've won. Like Connors and Joris looks like logos everywhere. But he was waiting until after Olympics to get new jerseys. So we'll have new jerseys soon. but I'll see what I can dig up. I might. I definitely won't have 2, but I might be able to dig up 1.
Okay.
And we'll pay for it if we have to. We're not asking for it for free.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's more about me needing spare. Like if I have a spare, that if I fall, I need to have a spare.
Oh yeah.
You know? So but yeah, I'm happy to do it. But yeah, we will have jerseys coming up soon. I just don't know really when.
Okay, cool. Sharon, you got anything else?
No, I think we're running out of time, man. Appreciate you, Barry. Really, man.
Yeah,
this was awesome. I thought it was a super long shot asking you, and when you agreed to it, I was like, "Oh my god, this dude actually agreed." Are you serious?
Yeah. And then I ran late, so
it's all good, man.
It's all good. It's definitely all good.
I love chatting, talking BMX. You know, this is I don't. So when I'm home from races, man, I don't. It's very rare I even leave my driveway. So I'm always stoked to talk to some BMXers.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Right, I'm gonna hit the end and work.